Yes, here we go. The Monday Club. We are back on a Monday this week as well, which is always an improvement. And we're only 3 minutes late. I mean, that's not bad for us. Let's be real. And it's not just myself and Jonathon tonight, but Conor Carr back on the bus. I know people have been enjoying his CARRPool, which has been doing brilliant numbers, mate, on the audio. So it's good to have a third voice on the Monday Club as well. As you can hear, mine's still just kind of recovering for the weekend a wee bit as well. So it was a lively one. All that good stuff means give us a wee like, give us a share, slag the hair, all that, carry on. If you're going to do it now. Remember as well, you can become a Bhoycie Bus member. So many of you have, such as like Jim Dolan, Martin Weir, Jim C, Alistair Jack, Lotius, did I feel that? But it's totally optional. Patrick McLaughlin is another one. It's totally optional. It keeps the wheels on the road, and we will keep trying to do usually about 5 shows a week for you on the bus. Sometimes more than that, sometimes less. You know how it goes. Anyway, Jonathan, you're rolling your eyes, but it's that time of the week.
Well, Russell, what we are looking at the moment is a route towards silverware for Celtic, and the question marks around the navigation to how we get there is the big question of the day. I think when we look back at Livingston at Celtic Park from yesterday, it became very clear that the pathway may involve having to go through a forest in order to get the job done, with Brendan Rodgers suggesting that Jamesy Boy might be the golden ticket to his comeback with some silverware at the end of the season. But you know, when you're looking at it, and I'm looking at the resumes around Celtic Park for these types of fixtures that are upcoming, if we are going to have success, the only CV I am interested in is the one that is CCV Cameron Carter-Vickers, as he has now proven how much of a loss he was at the weekend. We know when we talk about routes to silverware, Rangers will go down the route of relying on the Scottish Football Association, with some more baffling decisions handed out in their direction yesterday. But when it comes to Celtic, it's all about the resumes, and perhaps the pathway might just take us through a forest.
Oh, Forrest, the best winger at the club. Conor, we didn't do our P&P yesterday, but we can cover the game a bit tonight. I'm sure people want to get the views. How did you feel watching that one yesterday? It was 4-2 in name. Not quite performance, was it?
I didn't actually see the game live. I was actually working, but I did watch it. I recorded it. I did watch it back, so to actually catch up on it to see how we did. I was quite funny. I was sitting and working. You're not allowed to go on your phone at work and that. Obviously, be professional, all that shit, which I'm very, very used to by now. So I was sitting and my phone's buzzing. I'm just because I made a prediction on the CARRPool last week saying I will deal with Livingston, no bother. That's be able to relax and unwind and actually enjoy the game for once. And my prediction was so far off. I've seen a guy with a Celtic strip on coming through where I work, and obviously I couldn't go on my phone. I was just like, what's the score, mate? He's like, oh, it's 1-0 with Celtic. My Maida just scored. I'm like, happy days, early goal. We should be cushy. Then I'm sitting there doing my work and that, my phone's buzzing like mad. I'm like, oh, we must be getting Livingston a right good old hammering. And then I check my phone and it's on my break. I'm like, 85th minute, fucking 2-2. I'm like, are you taking the piss? I'm like, we're playing Livingston. This isn't a Ross County or a St Johnstone or St Mirren, who have been having okay seasons apart from Ross County. This is bottom of the table Livingston. This is David Martindale's Livingston. Terrorist ball Livingston. What's going on? So then I checked the old Twitter. Welsh and Scales getting slagged for a defence. Unsurprisingly. And then I go home, I watch the game, and it was pretty shite, to be honest. I think we did have quite a lot of chances. In all honesty, looking back, we could have buried it a lot earlier if we had that killer instinct, which we've been sorely lacking this season all across the park. the defensive frailties are just there for everybody to see. It's mind-boggling. I know Scales has had his plaudits this season earlier on, but I think he's run his race, man. I think he's been shown up. I think he's absolutely not good enough to go ahead as a starting centre-back for Celtic. I think it reminds me of a BTEC Carl Starfelt, and God knows he had his critics. I think when he's paired with a lesser centre-half, and like Stephen Welsh, I think he just absolutely loses all composure. But I think when he's paired alongside someone of the calibre of Cameron Carter-Vickers, I think he can raise his game. He's comfortable having a superior defender next to him who he can rely on as his defensive partner. But I think his purple patch is well and truly fucking done. I think we cannot. I think the work we were thinking on the positions we need to work on in the summer has just been amplified to the hilt after these recent performances the last few weeks. I know it's been kind of up and down all season, but I think the past couple of months, I think, has just really opened everybody's eyes to just how much of a revival we're going to need this summer. And that's whether we'll win the league or not. They're going to need to dig into their coffers somehow. And, here's hoping with this, I think it's the fourth or fifth kit we've released this season. It's going to be announced tomorrow morning. Just see a notification there at 8 a.m. Here's hoping that the extra bit of coin that this fucking board makes from that during the cost of living crisis, people can't afford to heat their homes or feed their fucking families or go to food banks and shit like that. Here's hoping the extra money they can make from another kit release, which will no doubt be charged, for extortionate prices, can be put towards buying some actual decent fucking players. But, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Conor as ever, starting with the scattergun approach. Jonathan, I love that. You ask him how he enjoyed the game. He didn't watch it, but we finished up with Celtic's fourth kit getting a mention a lot. That is how to kick us off, mate. I love that. Jonathan, let's go back to the game briefly, and then I'm trying frantically to check out this kit because I didn't actually know anything about that. I'm like, what?
I mean,
caught me on the hop there, Conor, with that one. Ridiculous type releasing a kit, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of memorial reason or some sort of anniversary of something that they'll find an excuse for. I'm just looking to see it now. But in terms of the game, it's right to talk about the defence, isn't it? Celebrating our Irish origins. So is it? I wonder what that's going to be. Anyway, when it comes to the game yesterday, I've spoken about this before, and I'm gonna try and be consistent with it. We've had periods this season where we've scored early, so a position of strength, we don't seem to capitalise. That was the case again at the weekend. When we concede and we have moments of adversity, we panic, and it looks like, I don't know if you remember, at one point that could have been 3-2 yesterday, almost immediately after the equalising goal for Livingston, the second equalising goal from that corner. When Joe Hart saved that yesterday, I was like, I actually felt for that next 5 minutes, are we actually going to get through this? Are we going to head out at home to the bottom, as Conor rightfully highlights, the bottom club in the league? It seems to snowball when we have adversity and we don't seem to capitalise when we have positive beginnings and early goals such as yesterday again. Talk me through how that leads us then to still being in the debate for a double this year, and whether you think it is feasible whilst now middle of March we're still showing these fragile traits both ways.
It's a very hard one to answer how we're going to find a way if we do end up walking away with both trophies. I think that's going to be a remarkable achievement if they manage to do that based on what I've seen so far of this season. And it all goes back to a word that Brendan Rodgers, has parodied himself on for so long. It's been one that we've all liked to coin of Brendan in the past, and that's that word character that he used to use an awful lot. But I tell you, at the moment, he doesn't have a lot of players he can hang his hat on when it comes to characters in that dressing room that have, I think, the stomach for the fight when things aren't going their way. We've seen multiple examples of it over the season. I was filled with dread when I seen Carter-Vickers wasn't in the team, which tells you an awful lot. I thought Livingston would get a goal when I'd seen it with Scales and Welsh in the back line, and so it proved. But I didn't expect the game to turn out quite the way it did. I still thought we'd have had more than enough to have seen them off more comfortably and earlier on than we did. And whilst middle to front, we still look like we're capable of, causing problems defensively without Carter-Vickers. It makes such a big difference for us now. It's pretty much so much of the season now depends on how many games he plays. For me, I feel if Carter Vickers plays the majority of these games, Celtic have a very high chance of doing pretty well over them. If he doesn't, they'll lose more points. It's a guarantee. If they have to go to Ibrox, for example, in a couple of weeks, and it scales in Welsh, I can't see anything other than a Rangers win, unfortunately, there at Ibrox with that set of cards that would be dealt. Albeit, we've been the underdogs, certainly last time we went to Ibrox, and in many eyes we were underdogs at home to them as well. But I just look at it, Russell, and I think we just got another glaring example in this game that when things start going against Celtic, these players, I'm not sure, are able to stand up and be counted and really dig in deep to get the results that they're going to need to get over the coming weeks if they want to win the league. You rightly point out when it goes to 2 each, it did feel like the tie was in the balance for a large part there. And that shouldn't be happening in a home game, with the greatest of respect to Livingston, who are nowhere near it this season. They're nowhere near the team they were a few years back, where they were extremely well organised, hard to beat, pushing for top 6 finishes, etc. Now they are very much the worst team in the top flight in Scotland by quite a distance, I would say. They don't really tend to score an awful lot of goals. They're not renowned for scoring goals, certainly not when they come to Glasgow, either Celtic Park or Ibrox. And I just feel as if at the moment we're wobbly at the back. We'd really lack confidence without Carter Vickers there. And I just feel that the players are almost on edge a little bit. And when things start to go wrong, those sort of self-doubts that they already had in their mind before the game really begin to surface, and it transforms onto the field of play. And you begin to see them playing with a nervousness that didn't necessarily exist, when the match starts. But, if you get yourself 1-0 up, you should be able to go on from there. That should have been the confidence booster they needed. And, they didn't even keep the lead for very long when they went to 1-0 at all. It was, very short-lived. And, Livingston also hit the post in the early stages of the match too. So there was warning signs early on that this was not going to be the straightforward cup tie we expected. But for me, if you're asking me what is the big thing that Celtic have to get right if they're going to secure the double now, it's 1, Carter Vickers, but 2, the mentality of these players has got to be stronger, because they are going to come up against so much adversity in the next few rounds of fixtures, not least of which it's going to be going to, an absolute cauldron of an atmosphere at Ibrox in a couple of weeks' time, in a game that I feel they must not lose. I don't think Celtic can afford to lose that one, the way the league's going. And I have serious reservations about these players having the right mentality if things do go wrong in the upcoming games.
Yeah, the mentality. It's an interesting one. You'd have thought that would be something that's been ingrained into the Celtic team now, with the volume of titles we've won in the last sort of 15 years or so. In fact, really since the turn of the millennium, Celtic have been the dominant force. You think it would just be something that's part and parcel now that goes hand in hand with the club. What the players have titles in the bank that are in the current pool of players as well. It's interesting. I'm not quite sure that there's a huge faith even in the players themselves that when it goes wrong, they have the answers. And I think it takes one-off either performances or moments this season. Celtic are relying on that too often. And that's a very, very difficult road to go down. Let's talk about that. Talk about one-off performances. Since he's came in, very early days yet, but Kuhn, no one's seen playing that well. Right, this weekend. No one expected that from him. And I thought in the first half in particular, he was brave on the ball, aggressive when he had it, and looked more like a player you would be signing in January as your only sort of marquee sign, because he was on the permanent one. He does here on loan to try and dig us out basically to the end of the season to get the title over the line. But Kuhn sort of came in as like, right, that must be one that they've planned for a while. Because look at Rodgers' demand for quality and all that. Well, we've not seen it yet. And no one expected to see it, such has been the level of his performance so far yesterday. Yet he properly delivered, I felt anyway. I thought he was causing havoc, particularly the first 45 minutes to an hour. And then you get moments as well. So one-off performance from Kuhn in terms of his Celtic career so far. Hopefully we'll see more of that. And then one-off moments like Daisameda's first ever professional hat-trick. He could have scored about 5 or 6. It was a strange display that Maeda put in. But I'm happy for him, absolutely, that he got it. But again, you're not relying on me either, digging you out with the goals to get you over the line this season. Let's be absolutely clear on that. But it did yesterday. I just feel you're running out of lives, Connor, when it's these sort of one-off sort of things that you're looking for. Yeah, that could show you the benefits of having a big squad, because they might all be due a moment each season, but I don't think we've seen enough quality from Celtic that gives me resounding faith that we will win the double this year. Notwithstanding that, I've got a sneaky feeling we could still win the league. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm basing it on. But yesterday was another example of, I've already spoke about the frailties mentality-wise. You go ahead, don't take advantage. You go behind, you panic. Terrible traits. And then moments and one-off performances getting you over the line as well. It is very much muddling our way through right now, is it not?
It's a hope and pray kind of season. I think that's all we can really do at this point. I think the faith in the team and the mentality is just so non-existent right now. I think we've had so many false dawns from, the wins against the first win against Rangers, the second win against Rangers at Ibrox, the win against Feyenoord in the Champions League, for us to finally get a win in so long, for them dropping points, getting beat off Motherwell, saying, we can push on from here, build some momentum, and it just never seems to happen. It's very much like you go up, it's very much like a roller coaster. You're up and then you're down, you're up and then you're down. And I don't know where to pinpoint it. I don't know if it's because we've had so many injuries this season. Some people, players, have been plagued with injuries, like Cameron Carter-Vickers, Hatate, Abada, before all this shit happened. I know he's no longer here, but before all this shit happened with the politics, at the start of the season, you probably would have pinned your hopes on him to be a key player this season, considering how good he was under Ange. And getting goals and helping us across the line. Callum McGregor as well, our captain, is now injured. Who seems to be one of the only ones who really can get a tune out of his squad mates and tell them what it's all about, push forward. But I don't know where to put it. I think it's still possible to win a double. I think the nature of cup games obviously is that anything can happen. I mean, I've seen teams for lower leagues and that give teams for the Premiership, tough times. Look at Aberdeen last season, they got beat. I can't remember the name of that team for life right now. Darvel. They got beat off Darvel, and it just kind of shows the nature of the cup game.
That's right.
I think anything can happen in a cup game. It's it's a nothing. It's like you've got nothing to lose situation for a team like Livingston. I think that's probably why they maybe had such a good performance and they were battling. It was horrendous because they've got nothing really to play for in terms of the league. There's no chance they're staying up. So I think the most they could have hoped for was to possibly get to a semi-final, go to Hampden for their fans and stuff like that. So they really had to look forward to. So they probably pushed for that. That was probably where all their focus was on. And fair play to them, they gave a good game for once instead of stinking the gaff out. But that's probably more to do with their frailties and anything else. But I think with the league, I think it's so much on a tipping point now. It could go either way. It's the pendulum swings. I think from week to week. It's with Rangers that 1 week, it's for Celtic the next. I think for the large majority of the season it's been with us, and then we've kind of just shat the bed at one point. But I think we need to also acknowledge the fact that the decisions in that recently, and not even just games for us, and games against them, playing other teams, are absolutely baffling. I know we'll go into it later, but I think it's the most blatant it's been in a very long time. Because it's considering how close it is this season, we're usually miles ahead of them in a normal season. Come this point in the season, we're about 8 to 10 points clear, and they've got no chance. And if not, we're playing that well and we're beating everybody that convincingly that they can't really seem to match us. Case in point, Andy's first season. We're probably behind him at this point. Maybe just went ahead by a point playing them at Celtic Park. But we all knew for weeks before that we were going to win the league. It was a given because we had that much faith in the team, how good they were. This season, not so much. We're up and down, but they're getting helping hands all over the joint. And I know it's tinfoil hat shit. It's all the stuff that boy Lint on Twitter is compiling years upon years of incidents and pumping them out every 5 minutes to show the discrepancies. And it's not just us that are complaining about it this season. It's Hibs fans, it's Aberdeen fans, it's St Mirren fans, it's whoever, because they just seem to be getting these absolutely crazy decisions that nobody else seems to get, including Celtic. But we get, lobbed in with them because we're two cheeks of the same arse, apparently, and because the old firm is the root of all evils, according to the rest of Scottish football. When, let's be honest, it's just Rangers, because we're on the sticky end, we're on the bad end of it as well. But in terms of going forward with the league, I think I keep saying it week in, week out, we need to be absolutely perfect. We can't get a draw at Ibrox. We'll lose the league. If we get a draw at Ibrox, we'll lose the league. I guarantee it. We'll lose the league if we get a draw at Ibrox. We need to win at Ibrox and win every single game up until the league title's in our hands. We can't lose a single one. Not drop a single point. That's the be all and end all. I said it weeks ago. I said we need to be absolutely perfect. We've fucked up since then. I think we've drew and lost, and I keep thinking, how could it get worse? And it just seems to happen. But I think Brendan recently is. I think he's as clued in as everybody else. I don't think he's an idiot. I don't think he thinks it's good enough. He's came out and said recently it's not good enough the performances, and that you need to have a bit of belief.
He certainly said that. He certainly said that the weekend. He wasn't happy with the performance as well.
No, so he knows as well as us, and he's had his balls snipped by this fucking board. We've all heard the story of the qualities that players had to come in under that Mark Lawwell was dealing with. They had to be between the ages of 17 and 23, international experience, only want 10 grand a week, have to be first team player. When you're boxing a manager in that much, it's never going to work out. I mean, you could be Brendan Rodgers, Ange Postecoglou, or Sir Alex fucking Ferguson. You're not going to get much with such limited options at your disposal. It doesn't really work that way. So I think, in all honesty, if the manager was properly backed in the summer with even a smidgen of what they've got in the fucking bank accounts, I think would be laughing right now. I think would be totally fine. Maybe wouldn't have won the League Cup, but I think in terms of our performances in the league, would be far better off, and we wouldn't be having these discussions week in, week out about why don't we have these good enough players? Why didn't we get this player in? Would be fine.
It's interesting though, Jonathan. Charles Smith I think I share his view right now, if I'm totally honest about it. I know there's been bad decisions made. I know, in fact, there's comparisons obviously get made from the weekend with the high boot thing. I never thought Young was a red card, never thought Rangers was a red card, right? I don't think it affects Celtic's performance against Livingston, though, these things. This is an instant with Yang in a completely different game. An instant with the Rangers player, a completely different game. And you look at the performance against Livingston in isolation, scoreline's great, performance wasn't. Performance would be poor throughout the season, albeit with moments of results. And that's the ups and downs that we've had this year, is results at times have been okay, such as your 2 derby wins, Champions League duck broken, things like this. In at the semi-final, I mean, even the result yesterday, it's a good result at the end of the day, particularly considering the performance. How reluctant are you, or are you on board with the decision-making thing? I know Terry spoke about it a lot last week. I'm just one of those folk who I like to look at ourselves first and foremost. The performance levels haven't been great for the majority of this campaign. I don't feel at any point you've seen real progression either. It feels, again, I'm going to go back to it, like there's been moments this season, moments in these games where, it came together, we've done okay, we've dug it out. Digging it out is another phrase we've had a lot of this year. Refereeing performances, poor or not, I think Conor's right to flag up the likes. I think it's Lint on Twitter or whatever. It's got a bit of notoriety. These things all get more and more traction, though, when Celtic start regressing. So it all comes back to what Celtic do, performance-wise, scoreline-wise. I don't think the decision-making, in particular this season, has been way worse than it's been in other ones. In fact, I think since Varkin and Celtic's had more decisions go their favour than they were previously. I'm not saying they started, though, from a 50-50 point of view. I think it was probably below that. But I really believe it's utter fear of knowing that you're watching your own team not performing to levels that you became accustomed to and what you hoped and expected this year, that exaggerates then the officialdom in the country. And I'll be honest, I just think right now it's a comfort blanket that we can all put on, because we know the managers aren't going anywhere between now and the end of the season. The tactics aren't going to change much between now and the end of the season. We need to hope for moments, one-off performances, and hope somehow we just muddle our way through. In the meantime, taking all our frustration out on officials in games that have got nothing to do with a poor performance against Livingston, I think will be a flavour that a lot of people enjoy in the Celtic sport right now. And I think they're right in isolation, but my focus is probably more on how the fuck are we going to win this league? How are we going to do this? I've got a sneaky feeling we might still win the league. I can't deny it. I back Celtic to win the league this season. It's just a weird feeling that we're gonna do that. I take a lot of confidence from their way overrated performances than I do our terrible performances that get results. I think there's a lot more made of when they get a result, but their performance level's pretty shit as well. I think we're definitely held to a different standard, and I'd like to fucking think so. When it comes to the refs thing, let's be honest, it's that time of year where if it's going to be nip and tuck, that's going to be the order of the day for a lot of fans. It just tastes a bit better than accepting Celtic haven't been all that for a long time this year.
Yeah, it's a way that you can look at it and try and justify where Celtic are, but the reality is it's slightly different from that narrative. Unfortunately, if you're looking at it from where Celtic are at as a club, they've had opportunities this season to have totally ended this title race. And then just are touching upon officials. Celtic, again, have probably had, I think, the most penalties in the league, certainly around the same as Rangers anyway. There's not an awful lot in it. Celtic score those penalties that they've missed. You might well find that we already had a 4 or 5 point lead, if we're being brutally honest, in this title race already. You only have to look at the one against Hearts just the other week there for a prime example of how a game could have been totally different if we scored that penalty early on. We might well kick on and win that game. Certainly the Yang red card doesn't happen, as Terry alluded to on the post-match show that week. So there is elements there, and I think there's always growing frustration, and when it is as tight as it is, the officials do come under more scrutiny. That's just natural, and it'll be the same for the Rangers fans, by the way. They'll all be watching our games as well, like Hawks, wanting to try and pick up on any refereeing mistakes that happen. The unfortunate situation we have, and I'm kind of decided where I'm at with VAR, is VAR presents now an opportunity, rather than twice the opportunity of them getting it right, it actually presents twice the opportunity of them getting it wrong. I think they get more wrong than right across the board, not just against Celtic, by the way. I think you've got too many absolute jokers that are referees in Scotland that do not understand the rules. Even if one of them manages to get it right on the pitch, you still run the risk of one of them being able to overturn that on the VAR. So I just think there is elements of that. But when you're going back to where Celtic are this season, that's not down to the referees. Celtic have had enough opportunities this season to be in front comfortably. Celtic were the ones that had the big advantage points-wise in the league and let it slip. Celtic, as I've alluded to, have had a high number of penalties that they haven't been able to score. Celtic have had opportunities in transfer windows with more money than any other club in the country has had to spend, and spent poorly or not spent at all. And we've got a manager there who's a world-class manager who can't seem to get the best out of his own players. So if you're wanting, reasons for why things are the way they are at this point in time in the season, the officialdom wouldn't even make the top 5 reasons for me as to what's actually, gone wrong this season. I think we'd be kidding ourselves on, and what, as Chris would say, we're better than that. We need to be better than that when it comes to those sort of things, because as a club, we've got to look at it and just accept, we've made a total dog's dinner of this. And, if we end up finishing the season trophyless, the buck stops with Celtic as a club, as a whole, because, we know we've not done enough right. If you do everything right, and, Rangers manage to do everything right across the city, and it comes down to very finite details, then you can maybe put your hat more on the officialing if you feel you're being hard done by them. But, let's not forget, even in the derbies, we got the one decision at Ibrox that went in our favour as well. And whilst I did think that was a free kick, there'd be many that would have argued that wasn't. And then, of course, they try and make a big faff over the second game, even though that was irrelevant. So if you're looking at the referees, I don't think that's something we can really pin our frustrations on too much when you consider how much we've managed to get wrong this season as a club. However, the remarkable thing is that despite all of these problems that I was talking about there, Celtic are still very much in the hunt. Celtic still have this very much in their own hands, which people tend to forget. They seem to say Rangers have it in their own hands, which is true, but it's also true that Celtic have it in their own hands. Just because they don't sit top of the table at the moment doesn't mean that Celtic, if they win all the remaining games, will be champions. It's as simple as that. And it starts at home to St Johnstone at the weekend. And for me, there's every chance there that we can put the pressure onto Rangers going to Dundee, which might prove to be a trickier game for them after Europe. And you just don't know. I feel like the way this season's gone, you just don't know. I feel like there's going to be more twists and turns over the next few weeks. Don't be surprised if the referees make another balls up. Whether that goes for or against Celtic, I'm not sure. Could go either way with how many clowns there are at the SFA. But for me, if you want to win a league title, you have to be able to be better than the officiating sometimes. And Brendan Rodgers knows that better than anyone because he did that the first time around. He found ways to win in spite of being on the receiving end of refereeing decisions that didn't go in our favour. So he's proven before he's more than capable of doing it. The question mark is he still capable of doing it with a worse set of players than he's ever had in his whole Celtic career?
I totally agree with that. There's the quality fall off of Celtic over the last few years concerns me far more than the quality fall off since VAR came in of refereeing standards. They've always been terrible. But as you say, there's example after example of us being able to overcome that. The trebles don't lie. These are things that we resort to when we're out of Europe and the league might not be going our way. And the fact of the matter is, not often enough are even a lot of the supporters ambitious enough for what Celtic can achieve and believe any further, I can see any further, I should say, than just domestic bliss. Be better than Rangers. Even the live chat as we speak right now, I'm reading about Rangers being in Europe might be a good thing for us as well. Rangers being in Europe beyond Celtic will never be a good thing in my book. Ever. That's just the way my football sort of opinion is based. It's never a good thing that our rivals are doing so much better in Europe. They've took us to school over the last few years. A new club formed in 2012 and being a European final like that is in, 7-8 years have been back in the top league or in the top league for the first time. Delete were appropriate. That's mind-blowing with the advantages that we have, that we've been so far off that. So it's never going to be something that I look at as might be good for us that Rangers are in Europe beyond us. It just pisses me off. And makes me frustrated that obviously any sort of dream, any ambition that you've got as a fan, they can occur. It can be done. But a lot of the time we don't seem to see beyond the domestic bliss. And when the domestic bliss isn't domestic bliss, it's the referee's fault. It doesn't wash for me. I've got to be honest. I think you look at the different levels in European performance that Celtic have been able to put in, that somehow our rivals have been able to. In terms of, Sanford Celtic, we saw how good they are in the Champions League. Do you know what, Sanford Celtic? It was another trophy Celtic won, wasn't it? Rangers having the lowest points or the worst goal difference with 0 points in the Champions League history. That suddenly became a Celtic trophy. Folk need to wake up to this stuff and stop thinking like that. Think about what Celtic do. Celtic won a dead rubber this year and will claim they got double the points. Well, they did get double the points last year. We'll claim that's some sort of progression. It's not. It's far removed from it. The fact we're resorting to referees and hoping Rangers in Europe might cost us the title this year tells you that the 10, 15-year advantage we've had, we've managed to whittle away as a club. And that's why you've always got to keep your eyes on the board. That's why you've got to be honest about team performance, manager performance as well throughout. I just think all these things, it could be coming back to roost. Yeah, just to contradict myself, Connor, I still think we're going to win the league. Fuck knows how.
I mean, look, in my defence, I don't think it's all it's all down to the referees. I do think we've been absolutely abysmal in terms of
Your defence?
no, you're just saying, like, I thought you were calling me out there for a minute.
But, no.
no.
I think it's across the board, mate. I think it's a common thing.
Right, that's fair. I will say that in my defence, I do call them cheating on bastards when it is domestic bliss. So my scarf is firmly tied to the goalpost on that one. But yeah, I think I do think that the everything this season, right? And if you want to include, like, I will include the rest decisions and all that shit, along with the underspending and the shenanigans of the boardroom and the injuries, right? There are all these ingredients that have, this insidious mixture that's in this corrupt cocktail that we've been served up this season, and it's it's really bizarre because we've had to just sit back and swallow it, because and the truth is we were, I think, 8 points clear. We beat Rangers twice. We're like, that's going to be a fucking easy run. We're totally fine. And I think that was the problem. I think we got kind of caught up in the moment, and with them having a car salesman as a manager, old Del Boy, and then Clement still getting to grips with Scottish football and the Rangers at the start, and him obviously slipping at the first hurdle against us, then it's kind of not worked in our favour. I feel like if they were more consistent, we would have maybe opened their eyes a wee bit. But because we thought we'd be up against Beale the whole season, we thought Clement would be, a false dawn for them, like most of their managers seem to be. And look, he might very well be. He might as well be coming the end of the season. We could go and win a double, and they might only win a League Cup. We don't know. But I think the anonymity and the unsureness of where we're going this season is the thing that's weird. Because in the 10 in a row season, we all knew we were fucked. We all knew right from October time, this is done. And we're still here in March, sitting thinking, like, can we still win it? Are we still in it? And coming off the back of a treble winning season, right, with an excellent manager and getting back another excellent manager. I know he's taken mountains of shit this season from me as well. I do think that he's off the boil, but I think with his, him being hampered in terms of players and stuff, there's only so much you can do. You don't, win an invincible treble with Celtic, go and do another one, and then go down to England to win an FA Cup with Leicester and get Leicester to the European semi-final if you're a shite manager. The only reason I think he was really bad at Leicester his last season was because what happened to their chairman, horrible accident. They didn't get a lot of money in for transfers. I think they only got like one transfer in that window. They were, and mind there was a running theme that they were the only club in the whole Premier League to not sign a player, and then they eventually got one through the door, and then that was it at the last gasp. And that was where the ship started to sink for Brendan Rodgers at Leicester. And I think the same thing's happening here. I think he's just been hampered by a board who do not want to back him, because we all know that there's a bit of animosity there. But it's sad because we are, me, you, Jono, fucking David, Regan, most of us all thought that Rodgers was the Messiah. He was coming back. The prodigal son returns, and that he'd come and make this league his bitch again, for want of a better term. And he simply hasn't.
I expected that.
Yep.
I expect him to pick up where he left off. I really thought he'll come back and he'll win. He'll win the rest of the rounds.
Brendan would come into this thing like riding a bike. Like, it's just simple. You don't forget how to do it. You come in and it's like riding a bike. It's easy to beat the Huns. It's easy to beat Hearts. It's easy to beat all these teams. When the truth of the matter is, it's not so easy. And you do have to have a bit of fucking fight, a bit of tooth and grit about you to get this over the line. And when you're not being backed, when you're not, got a unified front, it's very, very difficult to do. Now, can we still buck up our ideas and go ahead and win this league? Absolutely we can. Because the fact of the matter is, we're only 2 points behind. The fact of the matter is, they have very much flattered to deceive this season. The fact of the matter is, they scrape past most of their oppositions and put in, bang average performances. The fact of the matter is they lost to Motherwell the other week, who are dug meat, and they lost to them at Ibrox. The Fortress Ibrox, Snake Mountain, Castle Grayskull, Mordor. This fabled place where no, team in Scotland or Europe wants to go because it's so
It
bad.
can't be Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull.
Right, Scotland. I didn't grow up in the fucking 80s. I don't know much about He-Man, right?
Hey, I was the 90s, mate. And He-Man was like, well,
and He-Man's one of Russell's favourites. So, you're in trouble.
Was like, see, when you used to watch that, man, and like at the beginning when he said by the power of Grayskull, that was like, I would get like the toy sword out the stand, man. Oof.
Is that who you base your hero for to this day?
That's it, man. I totally it's He-Man based, but Snake Mountain's fine. Castle Grayskull's where the good guys live.
To be fair, I did watch He-Man when I was a wee boy, and the one for Dolph Lundgren for the 80s or whatever it was, that old one on video when I was wee, but I was very much quite young to know what was going on. But anyway, moving on. I do think we do have it in the tank to get this over the line. I just think it requires everybody to be pulling their weight to the maximum effort. And if I don't know. I just think I don't know if it's going to be possible. I know it is possible, but it's very. You can't tell. It's so like up in the air. It's not a horse you can necessarily back at this point.
Well, definitely not a horse you can back at this point, Jonathan. I think that's a good way to sum up. I respect that view, Conor. I do, but I don't know why. It's basing it on such little substance, but just a feeling, a hunch. That's all I've got. And that probably coincides with the moments and one-off performances that we've been banking on this season to muddle our way through. I was speaking to the judge on Thursday about where he sees Celtic this season. Where are you at with it at this moment in time? And it is intriguing that I think the reasons for where we're at, I was saying, they can be used two ways, can't they, really? They can be used two ways. They can be used as, well, the backdrop of fans maybe not even happy with the manager getting the job, which I think there was a good percentage of. A board, perhaps not happy with the manager getting the job. I think there might have been a good few of them. Players signed without the manager say so. I think there's a lot of them. And still been in it to this point. Is there a positive spin that we can take from that? Or is that a reflection of who we've been up against and who we are up against at a domestic level has been of a standard quite simply lacking this year?
It's a tricky one. I think there's a very good argument to make that different managers under these sort of conditions, this league title race would have been over with everything else that's been going on. I think there is an element there that suggests to me that whilst Rodgers has by no means flattered himself at all this season, he has managed to get enough results to keep Celtic in with a fighter's chance, whereas this season could have easily unravelled based on so many different factors that have gone wrong, and such has been the mood music around Celtic Park for large parts of the season. It feels like it's just been one thing after another throughout the season that's brought a bit of negativity towards the club. But here we are, getting towards the business end of the season, and we're still in with, I'd say a fighter's chance. I would agree. I think we are the underdogs and 100% going into this title run-in. I go back to it, and I think if you're asking where I see Celtic finishing this season, I find it very hard to call. I think I still think there's a chance at the league. I do, but I think you would have to get a result. I think at Ibrox, I have no faith, because after the split, bizarrely enough, I actually think Celtic have a better chance of getting a result at Ibrox than they will at Rugby Park. Believe it or not, I think Celtic will struggle when they go back to Kilmarnock post-split. I think Rangers.
I agree.
I think Rangers is something there that we're going to have to take advantage of and get a minimum of a draw. I think if we lose at Ibrox, I think it could very well be curtains. That's just what my gut tells me. A loss at Ibrox, and it might just be too much to claw back. But if it's anything else, then we're banging the hunt, because I still fancy us at home to beat them. I still think gut feeling tells me at home we'll take them and we'll beat them.
Obviously, post-split, you're also looking at it. Celtic will have the advantage post-split in terms of fixtures. They'll have 3 at home. Rangers will have to go away. And, looking at how it's looking, is they're probably going to be in the capital twice. And Celtic Park, Hearts, Hibs look like they could potentially make the top 6. And Celtic Park, not easy fixtures necessarily there for them to have to try and navigate. So the post-split round of fixtures probably suits Celtic, but I think you're looking at it going into it, and you just wonder, does this team have the ability to manage these next couple of fixtures and get to Ibrox in a place where they can really exert a lot of pressure on Rangers? Because make no mistake about it, that's going to be high stakes for both clubs. And Rangers have went into games against us already as favourites this season, and they've choked. So there is every opportunity there that Celtic could take advantage again. The one
under both managers as well, by the way, which I think people want to forget.
Which, I was just about to mention, is the one crumb of comfort we have is whether you like Brendan Rodgers, dislike Brendan Rodgers, think Brendan should have walked weeks ago, think Brendan should be given to the end of the season. One thing that is very constant with Brendan Rodgers is he wins these games against Rangers. He's only ever lost once. No matter what cards have been thrown his way, he tends to find a way to win more often than not that particular fixture. And he's going to need to produce another couple of aces in the hole over the next couple of weeks. But if we are still in this race and we're still going to keep going, I think we're now very much in the underdogs territory with how things are playing out. I just wonder how much that'll suit us. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, as I touched upon. I think mentality-wise, it might be better for Celtic to be slipping a little bit more under the radar and be the underdogs rather than having that pressure of being top of the table the whole time. It might well play into our advantage, that side of things. And I think if we can get ourselves into the position at Ibrox where the points difference is similar to what it is just now, or, best case scenario, hopefully even slightly better, and Celtic were to manage to pull off the win in Govan, I think Celtic win the league. I really do. I think if Celtic win at Ibrox, the title is there for them to then go on and secure. But it's all leading towards what to me feels like a cup final, a league final, if you like, in that game. But it's all about getting through the next couple of fixtures to make sure that game does have the meaning that it should.
Definitely. Conor, you want to sum anything up before we bring on Phil for the old Sutton Death, mate?
I think that I know that things have been very poor by our standards this season. I do think that we as a support for this final push, I know it's difficult. I think we all need to kind of just come together, like the Beatles say. But I just kind of just back the team. I know it's difficult. I know we're surrounded by fucking shite like fucking Scales and Welsh and fucking Iwata and shit like that, and fucking Palmer and players who aren't good enough, right? But we need to just kind of back them for now. Give them every ounce of support you can at the stadiums, from home if you're not able to make it, or you have, things limiting you to get into games. I think we just need to try and show the manager and the players all the support we can for this title fight, and see when it happens, when it's all said and done, when the dust is settled in the league, whether we win it or whether we don't, then the knives and pitchforks can be out, and that's if we win it as well. Because make no doubt about it, this will be the sweetest one if we do win it. And the last 10 years, by my opinion, because of how close it's been, it'll be the sweetest one. However, we can't go back on the criticism for the board, criticism for the signing policy, criticism for the nepotism, just because we managed to get this one over the line. If it does happen, I do think that we need to, keep the fucking pressure on these old cunts that fucking run this club that we all love, who are just trying to drive it into the ground. And I do think that for now, just back the team, back the manager, and come the end of it, what's done is done, and we move on from there.
Back the team, back the manager.
Motivational pep talk, Conor. Maybe we need to put him in Celtic Park. We need to put him in doing that for the players.
Good.
At least somebody would be.
Conor, I will let you go early because Phil has joined us now. We're going to do the wee quiz at the end. But thanks so much for coming back on. Cool, are you doing a CARRPool this week, yes?
Yes, I will be.
I'll be back
Obviously,
on
yeah, I'll be on for a wee bit. You can catch it on Spotify. Obviously, if you guys are enjoying it, let me know. Obviously, I can't get any comments on the Spotify and stuff like that. But if you're enjoying it, let me know. If you've got any questions you want me to answer, use a DM and I'll answer them when I can. Stuff like that. You want me to talk about. But anyway, I'll catch you on the flip side. It's been an honour and a privilege, gentlemen. Good luck, Russell. Very much like Celtic, you have your league to try and claw back and win. So I wish you all the best, sir. Good luck, guys.
See you,
Good night.
Connor.
Good night.
Hey, man.
I like that boy. He's good.
Fuck off. Hello, Phil.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, boys?
I'm all right, mate.
I'm actually feeling quite good now.
Have you come along, Phil?
Yeah, I've got a bit of facial hair going on at the
I
moment.
like it, mate. I like it, mate.
I've got a lot of grey hair in my beard. I'm going to have a beard like Ange Postecoglou at this rate.
Right, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Maybe I'm missing Ange subconsciously, and I'm just starting with a bit of facial hair.
You'll get plenty of plaudits, not points for that, mate. Don't worry about it.
Oh, of course.
It'll be cool in that Ange Postecoglou face if you manage to turn this around, Russell. That.
Oh, dear me. Yeah, 'cause that's 5 points, but yeah, there's still time, but it's just very, very, very slowly now. We're getting to a crucial point in the season, guys.
My comments are off already. I can't even take the slagging in the comments anymore, man. About the old Sutton Death. I've turned the comments off already, man. I think folk just watch this now, just the Sutton Death, just in the hope that I just get humped and that's it, done quickly. And they get an extra 15 minutes of us talking about Celtic. It's like,
surely not, Russell. Surely.
No, I hope not.
No,
don't be silly.
No, I hope not. No, I think I need to make more of a fist of it to keep the interest going. That's what I'm trying to say. I think whilst I'm getting left for dust, I know Pam wants us to win. That's all that matters, isn't that right, Pam? She was in the chat already saying, she was like, "Come on, Bhoycie, go on." That's what we want.
The people's champion.
Oh yeah,
I've got it some sort. 2 in a row you're going for, Jonathon. What the fuck?
Well, tonight's question is an absolute belter. I'm just going to tell you right now. Absolute humdinger of a question, so I'm looking forward to this one tonight. Okay, so Jonathon, the score's currently 13-8, 5 points in it. You won last week. Do you wish to go first or second?
I'll go first. Give the boy his clue.
Tradition, of course, tradition. Okay, so tonight's question is a Celtic question, and it has a very, very generous 26 answers.
Ooh,
and once again, thank you to Dav for sending this one in. Again, I've been keeping these in my inbox on Twitter for a rainy day. I was like, time to wheel this bad boy out. This one's a cracker. So guys, tonight's question. Remember when we used to actually do well in Europe? Good times indeed. But let's focus on one of the best of times, the run to Seville in 2003. Did you know that 26 different players played their part in that run to Seville? So that's what I'm looking for tonight. 26 players played at some point during the run to Seville in that UEFA Cup. Can you name 26 of them? I think we may see a tiebreaker tonight. That's how
I think you might be right, Phil. Russell will definitely be able to reel off 10.
Yeah,
it's going to be it's going to be up to me to make sure I can keep this one alive. I will start.
Should be okay here.
I don't even think you're going to need your clue tonight, Russell. I wouldn't even use it if I was you.
Oh, look at the mind games here. Look at this.
Can I go first and then go for Henrik Larsson, please?
Obviously, yes.
I will go for Chris Sutton.
Yeah, of course.
That's funny because that's the second person I'd written down as well.
Yep.
I'll take another one of the goal scorers en route. I'll take John Hartson.
Yeah, John Hartson, indeed.
Petrov.
And Stan Petrov, of course.
Interestingly, I was just writing him down as well. I shall go for one of Russell's
Really
favourites.
interesting. Thanks for letting me know.
Neil Lennon.
Yeah, Neil Lennon, of course.
Paul Lambert.
Mm-hmm.
Written down as well.
Paul Lambert, yes.
I'll go for the man who cost us the final, Rab Douglas.
Oh, Big Rab, yes, indeed. Rab Douglas is correct.
You've just jumped about positions there. I was quite liking just doing the back and forth of the position. That can give you good reminders. But if you want to do curveballs, I'm all for it.
Oh.
Good. I'm here for it.
But instead, I'm going to go for the obvious ones because that's what you'll be writing down. Bobo Baldi.
Yeah, of course, Bobo Baldi is correct. 4 each after 4 shots, no surprise there.
Why don't we go for another defender then? Why don't we go for Johan from Rohan? Johan Mialbi.
Johan Mialbi, yes indeed. 5-4 to Jonathon. So, Russell, obviously you need this to take us into Sutton Death.
There was another defender, Jos Volharen.
Yeah, Jos Volharen is, of course, correct. So it's absolutely no surprise. I expected to get this far. Maximum scores at the moment. So another maximum of 5 more guesses, or we're going to do a tiebreaker, or, of course, if somebody loses on Sutton Death. So
I'll go for one of the other big goal scorers en route, Alan Thompson.
yeah, Alan Thompson is indeed correct.
And then you just go to the right-hand side and you think, I always say, it sounds like the start of Saturday Night by Whitfield. Did it hear that?
There's a duck quacking the whole way through that song, and once it gets
That's
pointed
right.
out to you, you can't unhear it. So.
Nah, that's right. He definitely says, did he hear that at the start though?
Does sound like that, yep.
I shall go for Jackie McNamara.
Jackie McNamara is correct
Okay.
as well. Good stuff.
He's went to mix with the big boys now though, and that's up to you to be fair. So here's one that you'll not have thought of. Steve Guppy.
Steve Guppy is correct, yes, indeed. Yes.
Steve Guppy, very good.
Thank
so
you.
it's now 7 each, yes, 7 apiece.
Here's one you might not have thought of though as well. I'm going to flip it and go something a bit more out there as well. I believe he scored against Stuttgart, Sean Maloney.
Yeah,
That's
go on.
correct, yeah, Sean Maloney is a correct answer. 8-7.
Oh shit! I don't know if I've said this one already. Let's
I
just go
can
somewhere else.
recap the answers that you've said already. I can do that because it's
I'll
not
just
going
give you a
to...
different one. I'll just give you a different one. Momo
Okay,
Salah.
go on. Yeah, Momo Salah's correct, yeah.
Oh, so very good.
So it's 8 apiece.
I will go for Ulrich Larsson.
Mhm.
You would be correct. Ulrich Lawson is correct. 9-8.
Amazingly, Jamie Smith.
That
Jamie
was
Smith
my last one that I
Jamie
wrote down.
is the correct answer. So, we're in a predicament
Oh,
here.
he's shitting it! He's shitting it! Yes.
So, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I didn't
6.
expect you to say Jimmy Smith.
Oh, Jonathan, this is, come on.
So there's 8 answers. There's 8 left in the pool, Jonathan. You have to get this because Russell's got a clue waiting for him if he needs
Bloody
it.
hell.
You've got to score this.
Come on, Jono. Come on, son.
Oh, I'm struggling to even think of one. Was it who played or was it just who were in squad?
They
Who
played,
played? 26
played.
players played.
Yeah.
Don't be
Played.
silly.
Yep. They
Played.
made some sort of appearance at some point during the run.
Keep thinking. Have a wee think, mate. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'll put my pen down now and I'll collect my winnings at the end.
Oh, he's annoying.
See
He's
ya.
annoying when it's like
You're
that.
away. Just go. Just accept you don't know.
I've got a couple of ones written down, but I can't think of any that are definite.
Why did you write them down then?
So I've just written them down thinking I would have had Jamie Smith as my tap, and I didn't expect you to say Jamie Smith. That threw me a little bit.
Well, you've got other ones written down, you said.
I do, but I don't trust either of them. That's why.
He hasn't got the courage of his convictions, Russell.
I don't. I'm
Oh,
not,
good, Phil,
I'm not-
good.
I'm not convinced either of them are right. That's why I'm trying to desperately think of another one that's definitely there, but I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
Hit and hope then, Jono. You go for it.
Feels like it. That feels like it. I think he played his first game the next season. Am I going to go for him? Or do I go? Oh, so annoying.
All right, that's time, mate.
I'm
Come on.
gonna guess, but I think I'm out. I'm gonna say Liam Miller.
It's a hell of a hit and hope. And it's correct. Liam Miller is a correct answer. He is a correct
What?
answer. Yes, indeed. Yes.
FK Saduva, because they played the reserves against Saduva.
Liam Miller, you could have thought this could be a tiebreaker question, which I predicted. This could be it. Russell.
Okay, I'll take my clue.
Okay, so a clue for one of the missing players. This is a good
I thought
clue,
you
by
already
the
knew
way.
one anyway.
This is a great clue. This player still frequents the Celtic bench to this day. Think about it.
Oh, I know what that is.
Oh.
I would never have got that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, John Kennedy.
John Kennedy is a correct answer.
Good,
Yes,
good clue. I've got, do you know what I had though for my final answer? And I just, with that curve, I had Bobby Petter.
Bobby Petter's a correct answer.
Yeah, I thought that.
So the other ones,
I thought it was too late.
The other ones that you didn't get,
Colin
Healy. Colin
Yep.
Healy. David Fernandez.
David Fernandez, I couldn't decide if he was...
He scored against Sedova as well.
Sedova. And I was picturing a goal and I thought, wait, was he the one who was signed in the summer after the final? And we were like, we've just invested £1 million to improve from Seville, but no, he was the year before. Cool.
Okay, and Jonathan Gould was one of the missing answers. He played probably against Sedova, I would guess, as well. I would guess it was that one.
I was worried about the keeper, if it was Carrion or not.
Simon Lynch.
Good.
And Stephen Craney was the last
Oh, yeah,
one.
that makes sense.
But now we have a tiebreaker, guys.
Tiebreaker in a long time.
Oh, it's been a long time. So obviously it's the same format and usually for tiebreakers. I have picked a player from Celtic's history, and it'll all be about guessing the number of goals he scored, and whoever gets the closest to it obviously gets the point. So yes. And funny enough, tonight's player was one of the answers tonight. So this is interesting. It's John
Do we need to hold it up or something?
John Hartson. No. It'll be who went first and they give their number, and then you can guess. Do you think you just go with that? So okay, so it's John Hartson. So according to CelticWiki.com, how many goals did John Hartson score in all competitions? It's not just league goals; it's all competitions.
All competitions.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Has anyone got another half an hour to wait?
Can I just clarify? Are we allowed to go over on this, or does it need to be under?
No, it's whoever's closest you'd have
We'll
to.
go for whoever closest. I know it used to be on prices, right? It used to be whoever got closest without going over.
I just want to make sure so I don't go wildly over and then do myself out by going like a couple past. I'm going to say 111.
Right, so Jono goes 111. And Russell, what are you going for? Or has Russell frozen at the moment of the crucial moment? I think he has. How hilarious is that? He's a way to Google it. He's a way to
Google it.
Oh my God. Of all the times for this to happen, all the times. Yeah, look, he's frozen. That smug look on his face.
Surely this counts as a disqualification, surely.
Oh God! See if he comes back and gets the exact answer. By the way,
that's sus as hell. We're not having that.
I'll be very.
We'll be going to VAR. We'll be going to VAR.
Oh yeah. The VAR check will be on the go. I'll be getting the old.
We'll need his
phone
up
like that, you know.
We'll need his phone provided to Phil, and we can check his search history because I will not be having that.
Oh, he's went disconnected from the room. There he goes. So he'll be back in a moment. But yeah. Oh, well, what can we do? We just need to twiddle our thumbs until he comes back. But yeah, if he comes
high drama on Sutton Death, isn't it?
I'm going to have a nosy at the comments. So now you don't look at the comments.
No, that's okay. Well, I'm locked in anyway.
Monty's saying he shot it. There you go. Anybody else?
Maybe he just thinks that's the right answer. 111. He's just decided to call it quits. He can't beat me. Maybe that's what's happened.
Perhaps, aye. But yeah, that's interesting. Maybe he'll text in his answer. Who knows? No, he's not done that neither. But yeah. Oh no, he's coming. He's coming back now. Here we go. Oh, the tension. The tension, Russell.
Fuck, man, that's so annoying.
Very, very good, Russell. Very good. Has Google been working? Is that you got the answer now?
Yeah, that's right. I had to check.
So Jonathan guessed 111.
111. And then that's why I said, he's very close. I don't know if you could hear me say that or not.
Oh, it just froze on.
113 is what I was going to say.
113. Oh, wow. This is incredible because one of you is just 2 out, and you've obviously 2 apart as well. So who's closest?
It would have been funny if it was 112. That would have been good.
Oh, it's going to be him.
109 goals. Yes! Jonathan has gotten closest by 2 points. 88 league goals, 8 Scottish Cup goals, 7 League Cup goals, and 6 in Europe.
It.
100th
goal. You know who scored his 100th goal against Russell? Falkirk.
That's a great story. Tell me that one again.
Falkirk got his 100th goal against Falkirk in his last season. That's why I knew it wasn't much for 100.
There we go. So yeah,
You're
we got
welcome.
the tiebreaker as I predicted. There we go. That was a epic battle of Sutton Death, to say the least, guys. Went the distance. But yeah, at the moment it is now 14-8 to Jonathon.
That
Oh,
Liam
it's
Miller,
lovely.
what a boy. Oh.
Liam
Yeah,
Miller.
you did well with that. You did well with
Jeez.
that. You did well with that. Anyway, that does us for tonight. Before just was my Bob Big, so hang on. Thanks very much to everyone who's joined in the chat. It has been very, very lively. We appreciate it all. Remember, give us a wee like, give us a share, slag the hair, all that carry on. We'll be back one day this week, Wednesday, the very latest Thursday. Might do something through the week. Connor's CARRPool, remember, will be audio only on Wednesday. In the meantime, cheers to Phil, cheers to Jonathon, and let's hope my broadband's still working tomorrow. The penthouse doesn't have all the answers, sadly. Right, we will see you later. Bye-bye.